the other question?
There's only one other real problem I had where God says that he's jealous and vengeful.
Why
Because
not?
the first, I don't know, I just thought that he's got nothing to be jealous of. He has
Why shouldn't
everything.
it be?
You know, like I guess we're made in his image too, right? There's no
And what I'm
reason why he
asking you,
shouldn't.
why is being jealous a bad
I
characteristic?
don't know. When Jesus describes his father, it's as a merciful. Like I always thought, if God was jealous and vengeful, Satan wouldn't be here.
So hold on. You selectively choose the parts of Jesus's words you like, and then you reject the words you don't like. You mean the same Jesus who talks about having to destroy Jerusalem and the temple because of their rejection of him? That same Jesus?
No, I do understand that there's a time for righteous anger. I do get that. I just think the word jealous is what I had a problem with.
Okay, but my question is, who told you jealousy or being jealous is a bad characteristic? Where'd you get that from?
I don't know. I guess from myself, it's not really based on anything.
Exactly. So what you're telling me is you are now determining what is right or wrong due to your desires and whims, but you're not God.
Yeah, that's true too. And I can't possibly hope to understand him either.
Well, not only that, let's take it a step further. I'm going to show you jealousy is not a bad trait. What happens is even the good traits that God endows us with as a reflection of his character can be corrupted and be used for evil purposes. For example, eating food, having desire for food is not sinful, right?
No, of course not.
But then what if you become a gluttonous pig and a food addict?
Ah, I see what you're getting at. Yes, absolutely.
Even the desire for sex was created by God, right? So that we can come and join ourselves with a woman, right? And become one flesh.
Absolutely. Yep.
What happens when you take that natural desire and now you pervert it and use it to fornicate, commit adultery, and let it control you?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Now to show you the same Jesus who says God is love, same Jesus who says God is love, is the same Jesus who tells John in Revelation, and I can give you other passages, even in the Gospels, then the kings of the earth and the great men and the commanders and the rich and the strong and every slave and free man hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains. And they said to the mountains and to the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the presence of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come and who's able to stand.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, now let's go back with jealous. Why would God be jealous for you? And why is it bad? Okay, let's take it in its historical, cultural context. God is perfect. We are not. But God created us in a way to reflect his characteristic, right? His characteristics. Okay, now, you give yourself wholeheartedly to a woman, okay? You have been nothing but faithful and kind, and you provided for her. You care for her. You don't disrespect her. You love her and cherish her. But she's constantly leaving you for other lovers. And when these lovers use her and abuse her and dump her, she runs back to your arms.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's not a bad jealous. That's a hurt jealous.
Because God likens Israel to his bride.
Yes, he does.
And he says, instead of loving me, who has done nothing but love them, care for them, provide for them, redeem them, protected them from their enemies, they keep running after other lovers, the foreign gods of the nations, because they desire the members of those lovers, because I'm not delightful to their eyes. They keep running from me. They keep abandoning me, get ravished by their lovers, and then I end up taking them back over and over again. And this is a pattern with them and me. So is God completely just and righteous for being zealous for his bride and upset that his bride is constantly abandoning him for other gods that they find more attractive and better endowed, even though those gods have done nothing for them?
Absolutely, Sam. That's probably another reason that I was worried too, because the Jews had done that throughout their time. I was worried that they'd done it again, But I do like the way you explain. I love the way you explain the jealous thing, Sam. I've never looked at it like that, brother.
But I'm going to give you some examples from Scripture. And by the way, the story of the New Testament, by the way, if you don't know what it is that God finally gives Israel the divorce she wanted. If you haven't watched my series, I've done several series. One, it's the Great Divorce. The story of the New Testament is God keeps pursuing Israel, his bride. They keep wanting other lovers, and he keeps cheating on him. He keeps taking them back until finally he says, enough is enough. I can't make you love me. I can't make you desire me. So I'm going to hand you what you want. You want a divorce? Here you go. You're free. And that's why Jesus came now to establish his church. So God's covenant people is no longer the nation of Israel. Yes. It is the community of believers that consists of both Jews and Gentiles who will be baptized in Christ. Now, let me give you an example why God is just here. Look, he now commands Hosea, a prophet, to do the following. Watch. Hosea chapter 1. Watch. When Yahweh first spoke through Hosea, Yahweh said to Hosea, go take for yourself, or Hosea, a wife of harlotry. Let me see if I can get a paraphrase. Sometimes people won't get what the harlotry means, right? Let me do NIV. Why would God have him do that? Do you have any idea?
I think I might. It's probably the same, so he can understand how it feels for him, right?
Yes, exactly what it says right here. Hosea 1. You got it. He says, when the Lord began to speak to Hosea, the Lord said to him, go marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her, for like an adulterous wife, this land, Israel, is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord. So he married Gomer, daughter of Diblaim, and she conceived and bore him a son. Did you catch it?
Yes.
He said, I want you to know what it feels like for me. Israel, the people, my wife, are whoring around, prostituting themselves, keep leaving me to go and act as other lovers, and I keep taking them back. Yeah, you want to probably turn off your phone. You want me there?
It's my wife. She needs to be picked up from the dentist.
You can pick up real quick and say, I'm on a live stream, so she doesn't divorce you. I don't want you to get in trouble.
I'm on a live stream with Sam, but can you go start the chocolate, and I'll head out shortly.
I don't want her to abandon him.
I'll call you shortly. Okay. I'll see you soon. Love you.
All right. Okay, now you see what God said? I want you to feel what it feels like to be me. Yeah. Israel, my wife, doesn't desire me, doesn't want me, keeps running after other gods, which is likened to committing adultery, fornication, and I keep taking them back. So my wife is and I still take her back. Now watch here, right? I'm going to show you chapter 3. You can read the entire chapter later, but now Hosea's wife was named Gomer. She left him to go back to being a prophet. Hosea's wife, Hosea, left him to going back to be a prophet. Right? Now look what he says here. Hosea chapter 3. Look. The Lord said to me, go show your love to your wife again, though she is loved by another man and is an adulteress. Love her as the Lord loves the Israelites. Though they turn to other gods and love the sacred raisin cakes. See that? Yeah. So you see what God is saying?
Yeah.
Just like your wife is a prophet who commits adultery, my wife is a prophet who commits adultery, but I love her so much, I can't let her go. I keep bringing her back.
I've been in that situation. I know exactly, and it does. It breaks your heart.
I've been in that situation. It cost me my daughters. Anyway, now if you want to see the heart of God in the Old Testament, here you go. Well, look, Hosea chapter 11, right? I'm going to read the first 11 verses. You ready?
Yep.
Tell me if this doesn't sound like the God revealed in Jesus. Okay. Look, when Israel was a child, I loved him. I loved him. And out of Egypt I called my son. Now watch. But the more they were called, the more they went away from me. You see? My son, the more I called him to me, the more he didn't want to have nothing to do with me. So instead, who did my son run after? The Baals. the false god Baal and his various mutations. They actually wanted Baal as a father, as a husband, not me. And they burn incense to images. Now watch the imagery. God has likened himself to a father and a mother and a husband. It was I who taught Ephraim to walk, taking them by the arms, but they did not realize it was I who healed them. Now let me give you the imagery here. Do you have children, brother?
I do, yeah.
Now imagine you have a son. You have done nothing but love your son, provide for your son, care for your son, and you taught your son baby steps. But then there's a time he says, you know what? I don't want you as a father. I want that guy as my father, and I'm going to ask him to adopt me. What would it do to you?
Oh, brother. I can't even imagine.
Well, that's what they did to God. That's what he's saying.
Wow.
So you understand? When you understand the God of the Old Testament, he's just as every bit loving and beautiful and humble as the God revealed in Jesus, because the same God. See?
I feel really guilty now, man. I feel
It's
really
all right,
guilty.
it's okay. God's going to heal you, but now watch. So, look what he says. It was I who taught Ephraim to walk, taking them by the arms. In other words, I taught my son baby steps, but then my son said, I don't want you. I want Baal as a father, even though you fathered me. Now watch. I led them with cords of human kindness, with ties of love. Does that sound like a cruel God or the God revealed in Jesus?
Yeah, sounds like the God revealed in Jesus.
He said, I did nothing but love them and care for them. But to them, I was like one who lifts a little child to the cheek. You know what he's saying? You know what the imagery here is? And bent down to feed them. This is the imagery, brother. I want you to look. He's saying, this is how I am to them. He took them as a little child, your baby, put them to my cheek. That's the imagery. And then he says, like a good parent, I stoop down to feed them. Here you go. That's the imagery. That's how God is describing himself. You understand?
I do.
You see how powerful that imagery is?
I do.
So now watch what he says. Even though I did that, then he asks a rhetorical question. Will they not return to Egypt, and will not Assyria rule over them? Because these were the nations whose gods that the Israelites kept turning to worship. Because they refused to repent. Are they going to keep going back to these gods? And now he says, well, if you don't want me, you don't want my protection. And if you don't want my protection, guess what happens? Kingdoms will come and ravish you and slay you. A sword will flash in their cities. It will devour their false prophets and put an end to their plans. Now watch. Look at where you're going to really... When I read this the first time, I started bawling. Why? Because verse 8. My people are determined to turn from me. See? They are determined to turn away because they don't want to have anything to do with me. Even though they call me God Most High, I will by no means exalt me because they don't want me. They pay lip service to me. They want other gods. But now look at his heart. Now you tell me if this doesn't sound like Jesus. He's angry because he has to punish them. But now he's heartbroken because he has to discipline his son. Look at his words. How can I give you up, Ephraim? How can I hand you over, Israel? How can I treat you like Admah? How can I make you like Zeboim? Meaning, how can I wipe you out completely? I can't. What I did to Sodom and Gomorrah, I can't do to you. I cannot bear to see you suffer, but you leave me a choice. Because look what he says. My heart is changed within me. All my compassion is aroused. Meaning, you're breaking my heart because you're leaving me no choice to discipline you. But because I love you, I cannot stand the thought of having to wipe you out. And I won't. I can't because I love you too much. See? That's why then he says, I will not carry out my fierce anger. As angry as you've gotten me, I will not wipe you out. I can't. Why? Because you're my baby. You're my baby, and I can't do it. I will not carry out my fierce anger, nor will I devastate Ephraim again. For I'm God, not a man. Meaning, I'm a God who keeps his word. I'm a God who does not lie. I'm a God who's not double-minded like men are. The Holy One among you. I will not come against their cities. They will follow the Lord. He will roar like a lion, like when a lion roars for its prey, and they come, not prey, lion roars for its cubs, and it comes. I will roar for my cubs, then they will recognize me. When he roars, his children come trembling from the west. They will come from Egypt, trembling like sparrows. From Assyria, fluttering like doves. I will set on them horns, declares the Lord. See that?
Yeah.
No. Does that sound like God is a cruel God, merciless God?
No, not at all. You're right, Sam. They've plucked bits and pieces from the Old Testament to make him look bad, but
exactly,
it's the same thing that the Muslims do with the New Testament.
Exactly. Now watch it.
That's why I wanted so much to speak to someone. And it's my responsibility to know the Bible better than I do.
Well, you will.
Shame. It's a shame I haven't read the whole thing.
No, you will. You'll learn. You'll learn. But one thing I want you to catch again, right here, you see the heart of God. Now watch here, God. It seems like he's so broken, like he's crying, right? Right? The picture, oh, how can I give you up? My heart is, right?
Yeah.
You know why? Because this is the God who then becomes the man Jesus. Now watch. This is the same God. Now watch here. Luke 19, 41, 44. Tell me if it sounds the same. As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it and said, if you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in on every side. They will dash you to the ground, you and the children within your walls. They will not leave one stone on another because you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you. See, he's crying. He's heartbroken. You know why? Yeah. Because you don't want me, therefore you can't have my protection. And if you don't have my protection, that means nations will come and ravish you. But what else could I do when you don't want me? You don't want me. So imagine husband and wife or children. They say, we don't want you here. We don't want you in this house. Get out of here. And as heartbroken as you are, you leave. And then all of a sudden, all these men come into your house, use and abuse your wife, and take advantage of your children. But you can't do nothing about it because you were not wanted.
Yeah.
This is how God is describing himself. They don't want me. What do you want me to do?
See, I looked at it as though it was a flaw of his, but it's not his flaw, it's ours.
You got it. And if I were to read Ezekiel 23, you'd start bawling. But let me show you how beautiful his heart is, not just for the Jews. Look, Old Testament, right? Look what he says. What about the foreigner, the stranger? Look what he says to them. Look at it. Watch how beautiful, loving this God of the Old Testament is when you read things in context. Let me go NIV, man. Legacy can be sometimes hard. Let me just do this. I want you to watch this. All righty then. Now, when you read in context, there's no problem. Now, watch here. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, meaning a non-Israelite, but he wants to live in your land, right?
Yeah.
Do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your neighbor, native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Does this sound like a tribal God? Or does it sound like the God of creation who loves all nations equally?
Yeah, he loves everybody.
And look what he says.
Everyone to be treated fairly, yeah.
Yeah, look at this. Deuteronomy 10, 17, and 19. For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, the great God, the mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality and accepts no bribes. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow, and loves the foreigner residing among you. Also, God loves the non-Israelites. But I thought he's a cruel God. He's not like Jesus. He loves the foreigner among you, giving them food and clothing. I love them. They're all mine. And you are to love those who are foreigners, for you yourselves were foreigners in Egypt. Does it get any more beautiful than this?
No, it doesn't seem. I'm going to have to go, brother. My wife's going to want to lift home.
Okay, well, last thing, though, keep in mind, you understand why he's jealous?
I do, my brother.
What is
His
it?
heart's broken.
Yes. So that means jealousy is not a bad characteristic. It's a right. If I love you and I created you and I gave birth to you spiritually and I clothe you and this is how you treat me, no, he's perfect. But anyway,
Absolutely.
Lord bless you, brother.
Sam, God bless you too. Thank you so much for giving me your time, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Lord bless you, brother.
Thanks, Sam. God bless.
Go back to the Catholic Church, take the Eucharist. And
I'm going back. Trust me. Confession and the Eucharist. God bless, Sam.
God bless you.